Well, hey, folks, and good evening. Hope you are doing well and happy Monday, the start of a brand new week. And today's a very special week because at the end of this week, well, I guess on Sunday it's Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to you. And I'm so glad that we're going to be able to be on the stream together. Junebug starting us off hot. Thank you so much, Junebug, for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate that. It's good to see everybody on the stream that is on here today. I hope you guys are having a great day. And I'm looking forward in continuing our coverage that we've been so diligently and coming to you 6 days a week until there's a resolve on this case. We've been so diligent about it since pretty much the middle of November when all of this went down. So over a month now, and trying to get answers to the best of our ability in what happened in what's called the Moscow murder. Some people are calling it the Idaho 4 case. I'm absolutely heartbroken that, we're a month and 6 days into it. And despite being a month and 6 days into it, there's no murder weapon. There's no persons of interest or suspects identified. And we continue waiting on law enforcement to release meaningful information. However, they did do an update today. They said that they've received 10,000 tips and they continue to level, they said, the same amount of resources, including a dedicated team reviewing digital content. It sounds like possibly the solution for what happens in this case is going to be taking place from a digital footprint. They're saying submissions that take place digitally and leads are not made public by investigators. So they're just trying to say, hey, listen, we know things you don't know, essentially. But they said progress is continuing to be made in terms of finding that 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. There has been some reports of a Hyundai Elantra that was found sort of like ditched on the side of the road or something in Oregon. It's unknown for sure if it's 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. There's a lot of information that's not yet known about that. And so as that continues to develop, as that story develops, we'll let you know more information about that. It says in their report today, at this time, no suspect has been identified, only vetted. That does not hinder the investigation. We encourage referencing official releases for accurate and updated information. They are continuing to ask for as much information as possible. And they're saying that the detectives do not believe the following people are involved: the two surviving roommates, the hoodie guy from the grub truck incident, the private party driver who took Kaylee and Madison home on November 13th, the male Kaylee and Madison called numerous times on the early morning hours of November 13th, anybody that was at the house when the 911 call was made, and the individual on the lease who moved out of the residence. So there's several people that are saying they don't think it's involved. Some people are saying, well, did they make some of those assumptions too soon? I don't know. We need to get down to the bottom of that. And then Steve Gonsalvez's lawyer, who is representing at least Kaylee and Maddie as a spokesperson, came out and had been saying, well, if the police are in over their heads, they need to start acknowledging that. We have a special report from an FBI former agent just unpacking whether or not this is potentially going to become a cold case. For some reason, that has made a lot of people on the internet upset whenever I've came out and said, is this going to be a cold case? I don't know why people are getting so mad about that. The fact that we're trying to highlight it and say, is this becoming a cold case before it becomes a cold case is a really positive thing. It's basically ensuring that it's not becoming a cold case. But I'll say things like that. I get like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 comments per day of people saying that I'm disrespectful to law enforcement because I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt in this case. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that we're able to get down to the bottom of finding justice in this situation. And as much as you want that, I want that as well. And so, in order to do that, I'm sounding the alarm ahead of time. It's called being proactive instead of reactive. So, some of the folks that are getting upset about the most ridiculous things need to take a deep breath, in real deep, and then out, and allow a little bit of a diversity in opinions. How about that? You allow a little bit of a diversity in opinions before you just freak out and uh, take it out negatively on me. You're allowed to have an opposite of opinion as long as you're respectful. We love a diversity of opinions on this channel, but we love it when it's done in a respectful manner. And a lot of times when people don't agree with you, they are basically discounting you as a person instead of just a thought that you have. It's just not the way on this channel, and we see the value that you have as a human, and you have the ability to think however you want. We don't even say we're right on the theories that we have. So just a couple of ways to think uh, about it. Hey, Naomi, thank you so much for that super sticker. I really appreciate it. I almost forgot to tell you guys different ways you can support us. If you want to support us through PayPal, it's Tyler Feller, Cash App, $ Tyler Feller 22, or Venmo at Tyler-Feller. You can also support through super sticker or super chat. We're totally crowdfunded, which means we can't do what we're doing like on YouTube and on this channel unless we have people like you to come alongside of us. And so it's one of the reasons why we always encourage people, especially if they've never given super chats or super stickers before, to hop aboard what we call super sticker train or super chat train, because we know that it's a financial reality behind any YouTube channel, and behind what we're trying to build here. There's a reality to that. So we want to give you an opportunity to do that. And I just thank you guys for those of you who have supported us in that way and continue to do that. And if you're in the situation today where you're like, I just really can't do that right now, it's really tough financially, with a free way to support us, a very easy and free way to support us is just by hitting the like button on that video. And so I'd encourage you real fast, if you don't mind, hit that like button on the video. That will shoot us out, help shoot us out into the YouTube algorithm. I'm telling you right now, there's no place that'd be better for us hanging out than on that YouTube algorithm. And I want to also say a special shout out to all of the members of our Feller Fam. The Feller Fam is our membership program here, and it's such an amazing encouragement to know that we have people from all over the world every single time we gather together. Those that are a part of the Feller Fam have a little flag next to their name, and depending on how long they've been with us, that's why their flags are different colors. So shout out to all the yellow flags. That means you've been with us for longer than a year. And those lime green ones will start turning to yellow pretty soon for some of you. I just want to take a second and say we're so glad you're here. And then I also want to welcome all the people that are brand new to the Feller Fam with a little red flag next to your name. Thank you so much for becoming a member here. We really appreciate it. And I'd love it if today we could get 5 new people to join the Feller Fam. We're also going to start a super sticker train just as a ways we're getting started. Today's December 19th. So wouldn't it be amazing if we got 19 super stickers on our super sticker trains? We're getting started. Hey, Athena, thank you for hopping aboard. I really appreciate that. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Amy Heights, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Toothless Appalachian, thank you, thank you, thank you. What a blessing. I appreciate that. Hot spot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joan Slay, really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. That takes 5 of us right off the get-go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if they are in over their heads, they need to acknowledge it. And you guys can make whatever opinion that you want, but I'm curious to know what you think. Do you think that the Moscow law enforcement are in over their head as they're dealing with this? Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you say, I think they're in a little bit over their heads, or put a 2 if you're like, nah, they got this in the palm of their hand. They're just not showing the cards that they're holding. Hey, Patty Davila, thank you so much for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's looking like a bunch of you guys are saying, yeah, it feels like they're in over their heads. It feels like they're in over their heads. Well, what needs to be done about it, and what can be done about it? More than 6 weeks after the Idaho murders, Kaylee Gonsalvez's family lawyer questions if police are capable. Shannon Gray, who's an attorney for the Gonsalves family, said they will continue to hold the Moscow police accountable for solving the quadruple homicide. He suggested that they should turn the investigation over. Gray also questioned whether the police are capable of even solving the fatal stabbings of the University of Idaho students. So Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan were all found stabbed to death, as we know, on November 13th. No suspects have been arrested yet. And so this is the attorney that's been representing them. And I think it's an important thing that we need to continue to sound the alarm on. Hey, Donna D., thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Really appreciate it. Hey, Dawn, you said, Tyler, you're the only channel I watch about this story. Hey, well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You said, why do you think Maddie's dad is so quiet? It's a great question. And I have a lot of appreciation for Maddie's dad. I watched several interviews with him. I think he's just not as comfortable speaking publicly, and he feels like he's not very eloquent, and he really trusts Steve. which is Kaylee's dad. And so I heard him say in an interview that he really wants Steve to represent the both of them because for some people, I mean, some of you can relate to this. The idea of getting on TV or getting on a microphone or being interviewed or standing on a stage is a horrific thought in your mind. And so it's kind of the way with Maddie's dad. I think his name's Ben. He just for him, he's like, gosh, it's just not my thing. I don't want to do that. And Steve is so eloquent, and I mean, he's equally as involved in this as I am. So I'm gonna refer to him and trust in him. And so it felt like he had a friendship with Steve, looks up to Steve, and wants him to be a part. It's a great question, Dawn. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Irene, it's good to see you tonight. Thank you for that super sticker. I really appreciate it. Egring, thank you so much. How are you doing? Elisa Renee, how are you? It's good to see you tonight. I really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That takes us to 11. Hey, Lanny, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Naomi, how are you? Dale, I love your little imagery. It makes me think of going to the beach. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing to do when it's cold and wintry outside? Thank you for your super sticker. Hey, Karen, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you guys so much for your support today. Really appreciate that. Oh, Naomi coming in hot again. Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so amazing. What an amazing blessing and amazing community that we're building here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Speaking to the Today Show in an interview that aired on Monday, that attorney said that the Gonsalves family is extremely frustrated with law enforcement's lack of answers more than 1 month after their daughter's death. In fact, I saw Steve Gonsalves in an interview say he's not actually as upset at the law enforcement as the media is making it out to be. He's actually really upset with the attorney that's sort of running a blockade that's preventing them from sharing information. So he's like, he actually said, I don't think that it's the law enforcement that's not wanting to share information and not willing to share information. He said, but I'm really upset at the attorney that's sort of standing in between us. And I could totally understand. I think you guys would definitely understand that as well. Hey, Cajun Tim, it's really good to see you. Thank you for that super sticker. Really appreciate it. Irene, welcome. Welcome to the Feller fam. What an amazing blessing. We're so glad to have you. We're going to try to get to 5 new members in the Feller fam today, and you're the first one. Such amazing blessing. And you've been around for so long, I already thought you were a member. So it's good to have you officially be a part of us. You said, I will start my comments later. Hi from the, I don't know how to say that, Ursures Mountain. That sounds like a very beautiful place. OA Music. It's really good to see you tonight, too. Hope you're doing well. Hey, MJ Casher, how are you? Good to see you. Allison, it's good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. You guys are rolling in the deep on these super chats getting us started today. I take that as a sign that you missed me yesterday on a Sunday. We had a day off from coverage in the stream and we're back today. I feel like, man, you guys really did miss me yesterday. What an amazing blessing. And I'm so glad to be here with you guys as well. Another report that came out today, and we'll dive into it a little bit later. There's some evidence, and I thought it was pretty telling, but there was some pretty telling evidence today about the 911 call and when the families were called in. And one of the things that people were saying was that uh, one of here's one thing. They said 2 people had defensive wounds. Okay. So my assumption is that those 2 people's names are, and you can tell me what you think. I think the 2 people who had defensive wounds are probably Ethan and Xana. That's what I think. You tell me what you think, but I think it was Ethan and Xana because we already know that Xana had defensive wounds. And then the second thing that was said today, which I thought was really interesting, was um, it was sort of a theory that we thought, but today there's more sources to confirm it. That one of those individuals was found, I think, in the kitchen area. And I kind of thought that maybe it was in the kitchen because you guys remember that photo that we were looking at and we could see blood on the cabinet. And it was like, well, that blood could have only came from 2 places. It either came from dripping from upstairs, which I don't think happened through the floor. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think that probably happened. Or number 2, somebody was, you know, unfortunately murdered in the kitchen. And so the report basically was saying two people had defensive wounds. I believe that to be Ethan and Xana, and I'll tell you my theory in just a minute. And then the blood in the kitchen makes me think that Ethan was in the kitchen, like I said, and that whenever uh, the roommates went upstairs to the kitchen that morning or whatever, it was like noon, went upstairs, they saw an individual on the floor and they thought he was unconscious and called people over. And I believe it was Ethan they found in the kitchen floor. They called family over. And that had been reported early on, but we had no idea if it was true or not. And there's some sources today pointing to it. Hey, Olivia, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you for joining us. Hey, El Cassie. It's really good to see you. Thank you for your support. And I hope you're having a great day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that generous super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. Well, here's my theory, and I'll share it with you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think. Oh, I didn't see you guys were gifting memberships. Thank you, Latresa, for doing that. Thank you, Southern Gal Jen, for doing that. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now we have even more and more and more evidence of some of the things that I've been saying as a theory of mine from the very beginning. So I think the killer went in the second floor on the sliding glass, where the sliding glass is on the second floor, and went directly up to the third floor because his target, in my opinion, was Kaylee Gonsalves. I think Kaylee Gonsalves, from the very beginning, even before Brian Enton confirmed that she had worse injuries than everyone else, I thought that she likely was the intended target because there was so much media around her. If she had a stalker, the news agency was putting things out. If she had a stalker, the Moscow Police Department was commenting on whether or not she had a stalker. And so I think that she had significantly worse injuries than anyone else in the house. And the FBI profiler from the beginning were saying one person was likely a target, and whoever had the most significant injuries was that target based on past crimes of a similar nature. So I think the killer went in through the second floor, went up to the third floor, went into Kaylee's room. She wasn't in there. Turned around and went into Maddie's room, found them both in the same bed, got them both, just got Maddie just quick, and then really, was taking out his anger and aggression on Kaylee. I think Ethan heard them screaming. That scream that we heard possibly was a scream that they heard. Ethan's like, "What the heck's going on?" Heard all kinds of noise. Goes out in the kitchen, confronts the killer, ends up becoming a needless casualty of what happens, has defensive wounds. And then I think the killer went into the bedroom where Xana was at, and she was likely hiding, and she became a victim and then had defensive wounds as well. And then I think he left the house. That's my thought of sort of how I think happened in the sequence in which it happened. I listened to one FBI profiler say that they're going to be able to tell probably the sequence of the events because the knife likely became more dull and dull and dull and dull as the day went on. And so based on the depth of the knife wounds, that they'll be able to likely put together the sequence of who was killed when. Hey, Rebecca, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then the other thing that I thought about today, just as I was listening to some of the reports that were coming out, is a really heartbreaking thought. And I really for a second, I had to just take a second and sort of sit in that emotion to sort of see what it feels like. But also, I wanted to take a second and pray for these individuals. But the girls in the basement who went to the second floor and had to call family over or law enforcement over, uh, could you imagine? Just imagine for just a second them finding someone they thought was unconscious and then somewhere in the process of that realizing that they were dead and it was somebody that you lived with. Just imagine that. And how horrifying that must be and how much PTSD that there must be that they're living with. And so for just a couple seconds, maybe take a second and empathize with those two in the basement and realize that they have a lot in front of them that they're going to have to be dealing with. It's so heartbreaking. Hey, Marie, thank you so much for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate it. So I'm not, and by the way, guys, I'm not saying you have to have the same theory as me. That's totally up to you. You can have whatever theory you want, but I am curious. If you don't mind, just take a second and say, hey, your theory, uh, that's kind of my theory too, or I agree with it. Put a 1 in the chat. If you think I'm off base and you have another way, put a 2 in the chat. And if you want to share your theory with me of what you think happened and how it went down, I'd love to know that. Here's from the New York Post. The Idaho victim's dad says the mystery man surveillance footage is not a suspect. So we're going to be diving into a little bit of that video. Who is this Adam guy? Which we talked about some, and I know a lot of people have been reporting on it, but let's just talk about it a little bit, just because we haven't talked about it super in depth on this channel. That way we can just get it out of the way. Okay, let me look and see what you guys are voting. A lot of you guys are saying 1, you can understand where I'm coming from, or you think that it's probably accurate. So, well, thank you guys for saying that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Idaho victim's dad says mystery man surveillance footage is not a suspect in the murders. Let's see what he says.
Father of Kaylee Gonzalez, Steve Gonzalez, as well as their family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve, thanks so much for joining the program again. I made a promise to you that our audience would stay on this case and not let this case die. We had a cooling off period last week out of respect for law enforcement to bring the temperature down a little bit. What new can you tell us, Steve? I know we got this new surveillance video that was released by our digital team today. What can you tell us?
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just 2 girls having a good time talking about, you know, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Yeah, so you don't suspect that this guy, Adam, that's stated in the video is somehow a suspect or anything like that. You guys have known about this video for a while.
We have, and we asked, and we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of.
So they're like, we did the due diligence. He had nothing to do with it.
Who is Adam? That's what everyone wants to know today as new video emerged of victim Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan the night of their murders. The tantalizing snippet was caught on a security camera around 1:30 a.m. just before Kaylee and Madison reached this food truck where they stopped to eat that fateful night.
Hello.
Hi. It was discovered by citizen sleuths Alina Smith and Christine Cameron.
I think this gives us a clear picture of the evening. The girls went out to have a good time at a bar, and as they left, they were happy, they were comfortable, they were at ease.
It sounds like Kaylee is annoyed at her best friend.
Something very innocent, and that could be something, you know, that you could draw your own conclusions to.
Shannon Gray, attorney for Kaylee Gonzalez's family, watched the video.
It just looks like it's Kaylee and Maddie walking home. And then I think the Adam they're referring to is just the bartender at the corner bar.
This is bartender Adam Lauda at the Corner Club Sports Bar where Kaylee and Madison were drinking the night they were stabbed to death. And this is Adam playing with Kaylee's dog, Murphy. He is not a suspect. And what about the guy in the video walking close to Kaylee and Madison? He is the same guy seen in this video at the food truck. Madison can be heard giving him a brush off. Police say they have also cleared him. And now there's this. New body cam video shows police responding to a noise complaint at the murder house on Labor Day weekend, more than 2 months before the slayings. It sure sounds like Party Central. A loud party is going on, but none of the girls are home. 2 men answer the door while other partygoers have fled.
Who does live here? What are their names?
I am actually not sure.
I've been a cop for 22 years here. I'm not stupid. Don't play dumb games with me.
The cops contact Madison Mogan by phone.
You have a house full of random people. You need to let them know that the noise needs to come down. Okay.
I'm just frustrated. I'm also so sorry once again.
The video offers further proof that lots of people had easy access to the house where the four were brutally murdered.
So just as I was watching that, I'm like, there was one moment while I'm watching this that as I'm thinking about the hoodie guy, I'm like, man, the hoodie guy is not suspicious at all. And then there's another moment where she turns around and says, F you, mister. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm suspicious of him. So I'm confused now about the hoodie guy. I keep waffling back and forth on him. OA Music says the hoodie guy is the one they walked to the food truck with together. And note the hoodie guy left the food truck before them, and Adam is not a topic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Adam has anything to do with this either, but it's good for us to unpack who Adam is. But the hoodie guy's walking with them, but it doesn't seem like they're talking to him. And then they get to the food truck, and they're definitely not talking to him there. So, I mean, it's really fascinating. It's hard to understand. Thank you for your super chat, by the way. You said the dad is doing the best thing, thinks that he has the resources to hire a good lawyer. He will also help the other victims' families. Yeah, I do think it's good. He has resources to hire a lawyer. They're continuing to sound the alarm on this and trying to get down to the bottom of what's going on. So absolutely, I mean, it's really good. And he's trying to help the other families. Especially like, for example, Madison's family who wants him to stand up for him. I don't know if Ethan and Xana's family wants him to be the spokesperson. So what do you guys think? But if she said F you, mister, to Joe, why would she be saying F you to Joe? Like, he didn't do anything to him. He doesn't know them. He's not talking to them. You know what I mean? So that's part that I'm like, well, what would be his reasoning behind that?
Another piece of the puzzle.
Here's this same sort of like conversation, but from a different perspective.
As an unseen piece of video of Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan in the hours before they were murdered comes to light. What could it mean for the case? Newly released surveillance video shows Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan in the hours before they were murdered, and they're with a man who's been heavily scrutinized online. I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to Law and Crime's Sidebar Podcast. This piece of surveillance video is from the early morning hours of November 13th, and it shows Kaylee and Maddie walking down the street with a man who's come to be known as Hoodie Guy, and he has been heavily scrutinized online, despite the police saying that this guy is not part of the murder investigation. They don't believe he is involved. This piece of video was released by a Facebook group, first to Fox News Digital and later to News Nation. We have requested the video from the Facebook group, and so far they have not released it to us. So let's take a look at this video clip that also has audio of Kaylee and Maddie talking.
What did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything.
This is what Kaylee Gonsalves' father, Steve, had to say to Fox News about the audio and the video clip.
That film, to the family, we've had that film for a while. I believe the business reached out to us directly, and after they had given it to the police. So it was kind of comforting to us because it's just two girls having a good time talking about, asking about their bartender and just being girls on their way to the grub truck.
Steve Gonsalves told Fox News that Adam is the bartender that the girls were talking to that night, and he is not part of the murder investigation. He's not a suspect. And joining me to discuss this new piece of video and the other developments in the Idaho case is Jennifer Koffendorfer. She is a retired FBI agent. Jennifer, welcome to Sidebar. Thanks for coming on.
I love Jennifer Koffendorfer. She is an amazing person just in general, but she also has really great insight and tends to hit the nail on the head in these cases that we've been covering. Athena says Kaylee tried to call the ex Jack so many times to find out what Adam told him about their conversation. That could be too, Athena. I didn't think about that, right? That could be it, right? Like checking in, like, uh-oh, what does Jack know? That's a great point, and you're probably right. There's something along those lines. Very interesting. By the way, thank you, Athena, for your super chat. It's so generous of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
On.
Thank you for having me.
Jennifer, this new piece of video, and I want us to just look at it very briefly, the clip. It shows Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogen after they left the Corner Club bar, walking down the sidewalk, and they are with Hoodie Guy, who has been, scrutinized heavily online, despite the police saying they do not believe he is involved in this crime. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
What did you say to Adam? I told him everything.
Okay, so Jennifer, we hear Kaylee and Maddie talking about Adam. Kaylee asks Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And Maddie says something to the effect of, I told him everything. And then the video moves on. So Steve Gonsalves said this Adam is their bartender. They've known about this video. He's not related to the investigation. So what are your thoughts on this clip? It's so brief.
Well, first of all, I think it answers a lot of questions that some people might have about Hoodie Guy. You know, from the onset, very early on, law enforcement has said they don't expect that he is involved in this murder and in this crime. Yet he's been indicted on social media with little more than the way he looked or his positioning at the food truck. Really, was not clear to me why social media sleuths jumped on him with actually no factual information connecting him. In fact, for those sleuths that really watched all of that video, you could see him actually leave in the opposite direction of Maddie and Kaylee. So it really made no sense, this belief that he was involved, combined with the fact that law enforcement said he wasn't. So in a way, the fact that this was released, I think adds to the picture that Hoodie Guy is not involved.
I would agree wholeheartedly. And I think it's really unfortunate. We've seen this in other cases too, but just to, heap so much suspicion on one person just because they were standing nearby. This shows that he was with them prior to arriving at the food truck, and he was standing around them at the food truck. He was with them. It appears they left the bar together. So for him to receive so much scrutiny online, I think is wrong as this investigation proceeds. And, other people have suffered from this.
You guys are saying Adam and Jack were roommates? That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for your super chats. Really appreciate that.
As well, this type of scrutiny. We have this bartender, I guess. The father says Adam is the bartender. I know when this first came out on Saturday, I was on one of the Facebook groups and I saw people then scurrying to look at Adam. Who's Adam on their social media accounts? Who are, Maddie and Kaylee following with the name Adam. And so then this guy gets put through the ringer. I mean, I find it to be really unsettling because this is like just a few seconds in time of their last night alive. And it could mean very little, if anything.
Exactly. It's very interesting how when we get a new name that's made public, then the sleuths just can go wild with that name. They look up all their media.
I agree with what Jennifer's saying. Like, we need to chill out on that aspect. Like, we internet people, we deep dive on people's names too much. It's why we were in the Kylie Rodney case. There's a young man who was sending me pictures from that party that were totally irrelevant pictures, but it's all he had. He's trying to be helpful. I refused to say his name, and I was blocking his name whenever I was sending it out to people because I didn't feel like it was appropriate because I knew everybody online would attack him. And I agree with what Jennifer's saying. People run wild with just a little piece of information.
Media platforms, they look up what they've said, what they've done. Any small detail that they find out of sorts, they will take out of context and then blow that up to mean something much more conniving than it actually is. Even these words that are said, when you listen to some of the YouTubers that I've already heard take these few words and blow it completely out of proportion, saying that it's very significant. And did you see the looks on their faces and the tone of their voices? And it's really terrible that this is happening to what I believe are innocent people, certainly innocent at this point. And what that means, this kind of indictment to them in the future. You know, sometimes people will never be forgiven or seen as innocent.
Athena, you're saying they are missing the point. Roomies now or before, right? We are missing the point. Like, I agree with you on that. There's a little bit of a point that's being missed from that perspective. It's like, oh, hang on a second. We need to understand there was a relationship, and is there information that Adam may have been told that doesn't need to be released? And if that information got out to Jack, so I agree. Like, they're missing the whole point of what's being said. I think that's the track that you're going down. Am I right, Athena? Is there something about Jack in particular that Adam knows that Jack shouldn't know that might cause some rage inside of him? I think that might be what you're saying. Hey, Hotspot, thank you for your super chat. You said Kaylee worried about what was said to Adam because Adam might tell Jack, right? Is that the point of it? So
when they're indicted in social media with this veracity.
I want to turn now to the search for the white Hyundai Elantra. So let's look at a little bit of Moscow police discussing the search for the white Hyundai Elantra.
We have looked at massive amounts of video footage, especially in the critical camera areas. And we've looked at the 24 hours prior to and 24 hours after of those. And now we're extending that out even further to other cameras and other time frames. We have massive amounts of people looking at this. Multiple different groups looking at the different videos in different locations, just because we have investigators all across the nation that are reviewing these videos for us and sending us back information on that.
Jennifer, we know that the FBI is assisting Moscow PD in searching for the white Elantra that is seen in this surveillance footage. The one that Moscow police say they are confident that the occupant or occupants has information that could aid in this investigation. 22,000 white Hyundai Elantras, that's a lot. So how does the FBI assist Moscow PD in basically finding the needle in the haystack?
Well, this is what the FBI does so well, in large part because of all the resources we have. So what they're able to do is take this list of 22,000 white Elantras, and they're able to distribute it to their different analytical forces that are throughout the United States. Particularly our top 15 offices have huge analytic squads, and this is what they do. They do it day in and day out. They comb through information. They contact individuals that would be associated with these cars, and they pare down one by one who could possibly be associated with an Elantra that could be associated with the time frame and Moscow.
I think that's really interesting. You're gonna have to track down 22,000 people though to get down to the bottom of that. Hey, by the way, guys, I'm a part of a brand new amazing true crime app. I'd love for you to join me on there if you haven't already. I put the link in it. All you got to do is click on that link, and it will give you an opportunity to download the app. And then if you download the app, go search at Tyler Feller or hashtag Tyler Feller, no spaces, and give me a follow. I love it because whenever I have a thought in the case or a new news article comes up, I think of it and I post it right then. I don't hesitate. And so it's a good way to sort of get like some real-time information from me about what I'm thinking about what's going on in these cases. So I put the link in the chat, and I also pinned it in the chat. You can just click on it and download it. And I'd love to have you on there. So if you guys are on that app, let me know. If you followed me on that app, let me know.
And this incident.
And do you think, it's likely or possible, probable that this person may not even own this white Hyundai?
I think it's very possible that the person that they're seeking doesn't own the Hyundai, but had the use of the Hyundai for whatever reason, whether that's borrowed, whether that's somehow taken without the knowledge of the owner. It's very unclear, the words that have been used by police, but clearly they think this is a main focus that can help them solve this riddle of who committed this crime.
And it's interesting to me, there's been some reporting that I've seen that Moscow police went as far as 24 or 30 miles to the east to other towns looking for surveillance footage. Does that lead you to believe they think there was a path of exit to the east of Moscow, that they've been able to piece together which direction this car likely headed after leaving?
Well, law enforcement has used some particular words that I noticed. One was a pattern. They specifically said they've seen a pattern. That really stuck out to me because that means that perhaps they've seen this white Elantra previously and not particularly associated with the dates that are in question, but previously, and they've seen some sort of pattern of direction. So, why are they looking 24 miles away? Why these particular stops? I don't think that that's a random check. I truly believe that that was focused based on patterns that they saw involving this vehicle.
I'm kind of being, my gut is telling me they have other images of this white Elantra that they haven't released. Do you think that's likely? Because they've said things like, oh, it was in the immediate area, or it was, quote, there. And when you mention patterns as well, that to me leads me to believe people are creatures of habit. So a vehicle coming and going, when you watch a neighborhood for a certain amount of time, you're going to see people in their regular routines, and possibly the Hyundai is seen before the homicides and during, but not after. So, do you think there's other footage they have that they just haven't released showing the Hyundai maybe right there at the crime scene?
Dr. McDonald or whatever your name is, we've never said he wasn't a good person. I don't know what you're talking about. That's totally uncalled for, that comment.
Yes, I mean, one of the pieces of footages that at least I haven't seen is the footage from the apartment owner. And it's spoken about. He talks about it. He says a white or a light colored sedan, I believe. I don't believe he's released that. I believe, other than to law enforcement, and law enforcement certainly hasn't released it. So that piece of footage is quite important. And maybe that was really the genesis of why now, through FBI analytical work on the video imaging of that, was able to make sure that that image could be pixelated down, if you will, where they can see the precise contours and details of the Elantra to know we're dealing with a 2011 to a 2013.
And the video you're talking about is from Linda Lane. That is a street that's right next to King Road. We went and looked at that apartment building, that exact apartment building when we were in Idaho, and we saw cameras, but they were up in the parking area. We didn't see the one facing the road. And I talked to Debbie Francetic. She and her husband own that building. I spoke with her over the weekend, and she told me that the FBI did take that footage. The police took the footage. They have regular access to their cameras. And she said it was not, she couldn't tell if it was white. She thought it was a light colored car. That was what she told me. And she said it was just kind of driving by. It wasn't moving fast. She told me, she said it just kind of drove by. So she said the FBI was going to work on that video with the tools that they have. So I'll be interested to see how quickly they come up with this and find this vehicle. Jennifer Koffendorfer, retired FBI agent, thanks so much for your expertise.
Oh, we love Jennifer Koffendorfer on this channel. Brian Hinton's coming out with a new tweet. I thought it was interesting. He said the main Moscow police investigator over the quadruple homicide has 2 years of experience with the department, according to the Gonsalves attorney. Gray says he emailed asking for credentials of the officer and why he is the lead, but got no response. And I thought it was interesting, too, because one of the things that we found as we were investigating that particular officer, Officer Corporal Payne, is what they mentioned in a different interview as the lead investigator on this. That officer was also the one who responded to the September 1st call at 1122 King Road. It says, important to point out, the police department says on top of the 6 local detectives and 5 support staff, 60 FBI, 2 behavior analysis, and 13 state investigators are also working on the crime. And I also saw reported on another channel, which I think would be interesting to just point out, but they're saying this just got released a minute ago from a news channel, and it was apparently according to Shannon Gray, the attorney, but it was that tomorrow the investigators are returning to the house to do another round of investigation. So again, tomorrow there's a deep dive of looking into the house. So I think that that's really interesting. You know, the Idaho Police Chief James Fry says 10,000 tips have come in. He's emphasizing they need help looking for that white Elantra. If you own one or you know someone who's driving one, the day after the murders, send that tip. And I know somebody who has a 2011
We know that police have had
Hyundai.
this surveillance video.
I know someone who has a 2010 white Hyundai. I thought it was an Elantra, but it's a Sonata. So they're off the hook.
We know that police have had this surveillance video since a few days after the murders, but we are now just seeing it for the first time. And it is not just video, there is also audio. Surveillance video newly obtained by News Nation shows what appears to be Kaylee Gonzalez and her best friend Maddie Mogan walking in downtown Moscow, Idaho, just hours before they were murdered. You can hear their voices in the video. For the first time, we are hearing the name Adam. The attorney representing the Gonzalez family says they believe Adam is a bartender and that he is not a suspect at this time. The Moscow Police Department not commenting specifically on the video, but in a statement to News Nation said, any digital content submitted as tips and leads becomes part of the investigation. We review and investigate submissions. Findings become part of the information we do not make public to maintain the integrity of the investigation. Meanwhile, the Gonzalez family is questioning whether the investigation is being handled properly by Moscow police, especially within the first 48 hours after the murders. Their attorney spoke to News Nation's Chris Cuomo.
From the get-go, we still get more and more information every day about mishaps or missteps that I think the investigation has made. You know, one of the questions we asked when we went in was, why not within the first 24 to 48 hours release some information about, we're looking for someone that may have missed work, that may have come in with, you know, injuries to their forearms or their hands, things like that. It's a small community. People that have taken a vacation immediately, things like that normal things that may be abnormal to people that live in the community, and getting that out. And they said they didn't do it because of investigative reasons.
Police continue to focus on the white Hyundai Elantra they believe was in the area of the house near the murders and are asking for tips related to the car. Detectives insist the investigation is not slowing down. With the holidays coming up, how does that impact the investigation? Because I know there's still dozens of FBI agents assisting and state police. Does that wind down at all?
It doesn't wind down, but we realize that people need a little time, need a little rest. We want them sharp and ready and, you know, get some relief so they can come back and not miss anything, stay really focused. So the intensity and the pace will remain the same, but at the same time, just giving people some turns to get out with their families, get a little bit of mental break so they stay sharp.
So police say that the pace will remain the same, but still no major updates. They haven't released any suspect information or a person of interest, but they insist this is not a cold case.
We did a poll. I asked if you guys thought it'd be a cold case. 73% of you are saying no. 27% of you are saying yes, you think that it might become a cold case. Certainly, I hope that it doesn't. By the way, guys, it's time to start our second super sticker train of the evening. We're trying to get to 19 today on our super sticker trains because it's the 19th day of the 12th month of December. So we get 19 of you guys to hop aboard our super sticker train. That would be an amazing blessing. Some of you guys have probably already saw this video, but I want to play it again. It's just the wooded area behind the house, because I think when we're talking about and thinking about the escape route of the killer, the possible escape routes, we need to know what those are. And so Brandonton went behind the house and sort of shows us the pathway that they may have went on.
Happened. This is the house right here. You can see the police line is still up. I've shown you this parking lot before. There's this big parking lot right behind because there's an apartment building right over there. But we wanted to show you what's even further back behind the house. So follow me. You walk to the back of the parking lot over here, to the very back corner. And there's this trail right here. And you can tell that other people have walked on it before because the snow is...
So there's like a clear trail that if you live there, you're used to going back and forth and down on. So yeah, very interesting. Hey, Lanny, thank you so much for that. Patty, thank you guys for hopping aboard. That takes 2 of you guys onto our train, trying to get to 19 on the Super Sticker Super Chat train. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Packed down and there's footprints. So possibly students walking up to the neighborhood up above. Come around the trail here. It sort of loops around right by the backyard, through the trees right here, to this fence line. And basically the little trail continues to loop around. I don't want to go in the backyard of the people who live back here, but we'll show you what's on the other side. Okay, so we're up on the road back behind the house. This house behind me, that path that I showed you, that path connects to the backyard of this house. And there's really a whole other neighborhood up here. We're going to show you. I'm going to get in the car and drive you up. And just show you what's up here, because it's interesting. You know, you've got the neighborhood down below where the apartments are, the college students. But up here, if you came up that path, you could have parked up here somewhere. Pan this way and show you. When you come around this corner, there's an intersection here. That's a dead-end street that way. This way is not a dead-end street. This is Ridge Road. So Walenta Drive we were on, this is Ridge Road. You see there's a whole other neighborhood up here. Ton of houses. And that area down below connects to this whole area up here.
So very interesting. Tyler Payne. That's a great name. That name, Tyler, great name. I know somebody else with that name right here. Appreciate your super chat, super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. A little over a month ago, 4 college students were stabbed to death in their off-campus home at the University of Idaho. The murder weapon has not been located. No suspect has been identified. Information has been slow and sometimes in conflict. The public is growing restless, and the family of at least one victim has grown frustrated. Where are the police in their investigation? Will there be an arrest and successful prosecution for the killer of 4 young people? Joining us is former FBI Special Agent Maureen O'Connell. Special Agent, thank you for joining us. Is there some new evidentiary development or something that gives you hope that progress is being made on developing a suspect?
Well, I was in Idaho last week, and
I'm wondering that same question. Is there any way that we're getting down to the bottom of realizing what may have took place here? Is there a suspect coming? Athena says, good night. God bless and Merry Christmas. Good night, Athena. Thanks for hanging out with us. Merry Christmas to you. I hope you get some really good sleep. Hey, Mama Casey. Thank you so much for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate that. And that takes us to 5 on our super sticker train, trying to get to 19. Thank you so much for helping speed us along, and I hope you're doing well. By the way, also, what time is it in your time zone? I'm really curious. Hey, Dak, how are you? Thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
spoke at length to Kaylee's parents, and they've been informed that the investigation is moving in the right direction. And I really love to hear that. And while we were there, we told them how much these law enforcement officers want to give them good news. And that was really comforting to them, and a really, obviously, just extraordinarily sad time. There are things that are happening right now. There are some things that are slowing things down. For example, finals were Friday night, so the whole town is pretty much empty. And in order to have an in-person interview or, talk to someone again, normally the cops would just go out right to their house and bring them in and talk to them. But in this particular instance, they're having to send leads to either FBI offices or to local police departments throughout the country where these kids, went home for the holidays. So there are a lot of things that are causing this thing to slow down, and a lot of them have also to do with the forensic evidence that they took into custody. Apparently, this evidence was actually layered, which is very difficult to work with and pull apart and put into its own little bucket. Where, for example, if the shoe impressions with snow and dirt and rocks and blood all have to be separated out.
There wasn't snow ahead of time. I feel like she doesn't know what she's talking about. Hey, Naomi, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Oh, and guys, one more thing I wanted to tell you. Anybody who sends a super chat today over $55, I'm going to send you a peppermint mocha coffee of ours and an autographed version of our Don't Stop book. So any super chat today over $55, I'm going to send you both of those. Thank you, Naomi, for hopping aboard the super sticker train. Really appreciate that. You're always on board. Every train you're on board, and it means the world to me. Thank you so much. Oh, hey, Mama Casey, you said it's 1:30 p.m. in Australia? I didn't realize it's 1:30 p.m. Wow. You're number 8 on our train again. Thank you so much. I love that you told me that. Time in Australia, 1:30 p.m. It's already tomorrow there. Some people are like, man, really thinking about tomorrow, and you're already in it. Thank you for your super chat.
And tested. So there are just so many moving parts, but them working in the right going in the right direction meant a lot to me.
All right, Special Agent, I know the Bureau has a robust behavioral science unit. Some states do as well. Does the manner in which these victims were killed tell you anything about the motive or the offender?
Yes, I have 2 very good friends that are just renowned behavioral scientists, and we talk about casework all the time, and we have a almost daily text chain. They both told me that the victim that received the most severe wound would be the one that was the initial target of this attack. Now, there's also the chance that one of the victims fought back hard and really said something terrible to overexcite the offender, and then he gave her the worst end of the brutal attack.
All right, you touched on something. I mean, look, I know police want to tell the family and friends of victims as much as they can, but sometimes they cannot because it will jeopardize the investigation. How do you reconcile that tension between, I mean, there's no one in the world that feels the loss of these 4 more than their parents and their siblings and their family, but yet you don't want to jeopardize the investigation. So how do you balance those 2 tensions?
Well, it's a very dicey and very
It's a very, very dicey thing. Hey, thank you, Heidi Joy, for that super sticker. Really appreciate it. And Mama Casey, you said thank you for being you. Well, thank you for being you. I really appreciate that. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so amazing. We have the most amazing group of people here called the Feller Fam. And from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. I appreciate it. And Dr. Latina says, I'm slow tonight. I don't know what that means. I don't think you're slow. Why do you think there are windows down and finding a suspect soon? I don't know what that sentence means, Dr. Latina. Why do you think they are windows G down and finding a suspect soon? Why do you think there's Windows G down and finding a suspect soon? I'm slow tonight. Why do you think there are Windows G down and finding a suspect soon? I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. My brain's not working. Hey, Allison, thank you so much for that super sticker. Wow. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Delicate dance that you have to do with them, but you let them know that your heart and soul are in this case, that you want more than anything to have justice for their child. But in order to do that, there's all kinds of things that you have to keep quiet, because the nature of a victim or the parent is to be emotional, and that's normal, and everyone expects that. But when you're emotional, you have a hard time keeping things close to the vest. So that's where the problem is. That's where the rub is. And that's why having these conversations with them, keeping open lines of communication is crucial.
All right, stabbing 4 people is not a federal crime usually, but the feds have resources other departments do not have. Do you have a sense of how involved the FBI is? Are they helping when asked, or are they kind of co-partners in this investigation?
Well, the case belongs to Moscow PD, and the FBI has a program where if you're a local municipal law enforcement agency and you have something that's outside of your bounds, you can actually request for support from the FBI, and it's support to the locals. We do it all the time, and it's a very successful program. So I think they're very, very involved, especially with all the...
They should be involved. I hope that there's good folks at the FBI really desiring to get down to the bottom of this. Doctora Latina says, I'm feeling slow because I'm behind in this understanding of your thread here. You stated things are winding down and maybe a suspect is on the horizon. If I said that, it was because I was reading an article. Because I don't know if I understand that. Did I say that? If I said I was reading an article, I'm slow, I think. I think if I said that, I was just reading an article. Like, are things winding down soon? Is a suspect on the horizon? I feel like I could have maybe said that, but I don't remember saying that from my heart. So that's not how I feel in my heart. I feel like it's becoming a cold case and we need to continue to put the pressure on them to get down to the bottom of it. That's what I'm thinking. So I might have been reading an article. I read an article from the Daily Mail. That sounds like something they would say, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The Daily Mail, they say all kinds of weird stuff, and I could see them saying that. So I'm the one causing confusion, Dr. Latina, apparently. Sorry for doing that. Thank you for your super chat. Hey, Lanny, thank you for your super chat. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate that. How is it becoming a cold case? Well, we're a month and 6 days in. They have no leads, no suspects, no found murder weapon, no idea of what happened. Going back to the house tomorrow still to try to figure out what possibly took place. I'm not saying it is a cold case. I'm saying I think it might be becoming a cold case if we don't continue to push the buttons on getting down to the bottom of it. So, by the way, with that, we're 12 on our super sticker train, trying to get to 19. We're only 7 away. Thank you guys for your support.
The social media stuff, all the IT stuff. There are so many students from this school that were at these parties that are commenting on forums such as Reddit or 4chan. And 4chan is anonymous, so it's very, very difficult to find out who the person is that posted these things.
You can't track down their IP by subpoenaing the company.
So even when something interesting like that comes up and may ring true or may not, they have to do a ton of digging. Again, to your point about it's just taking a lot of time.
Well, it will be worth it if the right person is found or persons and there's a successful prosecution.
I don't think that guy has any clue of what he's talking about. He's a congressman. Lane County Mugshots posted this today. I want to shout out Shelly. Shelly sent this to us. Thank you, Shelly. A crashed white Hyundai Elantra sits on Seneca Road near the West 7th Avenue. This vehicle is the same make and model as the one that's of interest in Moscow, Idaho. Many people in the community have wondered if this crashed vehicle could be related to the Moscow murders. We reached out to the Eugene Police Department to get a statement about this vehicle. Here's what police are saying. We are aware of it and have sent the vehicle information to Moscow, Idaho. We will refer everybody to call the Moscow police. And then here's a picture of this car. There's the front of it. There's the side of it. Notice there's no stickers here. I think we saw that in the surveillance footage. There's no stickers. There's the back of it. Notice there's no license plate, but see this thing in the back right there where it says rainbow or whatever? That's an interesting clue piece to be looking for. And then here's the other side of it. So this is a white Hyundai Elantra that was found. A white Hyundai Elantra has been found. It's unknown at this time if it's possibly connected, but you guys let me know what you think. Do you think that this is a white Hyundai Elantra that's connected to what's going on, or a totally separate white Hyundai Elantra that happened to be ditched in the middle of nowhere? Just a coincidence? Don't know. It was bought with cash and registered to Colorado. Thank you, Shelly. Jamie! Thank you for that super sticker, Jamie. Hope you're doing well. I was making a joke, KW. Hey, Naomi, thank you for that. Really appreciate that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kim Possible? Is that really you? Kim Possible, you look different. I was just joking about Trey Dowdy, guys. It was just a joke, just a silly joke. You guys are taking the wrong way. Hey, Elizabeth Robinson, thank you so much for that super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What an amazing blessing. That takes us to 15 on our super sticker train, which means we're just 4 away from getting our goal of 19. Guys, the other day on Twitter, my favorite Twitter page, Sleuthy Goosey, did what's called the Twitter's Space, where it's basically like a podcast where she talked about the King Road killings. I want to listen to some of it if you guys want to listen to it with me. We're going to listen to it a little bit faster than normal speed. Unless it's too fast, then we'll slow it down.
Months. I'm super excited everybody came, but I'll be honest, I was going back and forth having like a mini meltdown for the last 40 minutes with Jessica on the phone because I just want this to be like not a shit show. Like I don't want this to be like where we're spending the whole time just talking about like rumors and things. Like I don't want to do that. I feel like there's a lot of people that are confused about the timeline and certain details. If I can help, I'd like to, just because I do have it like organized and I was able to.
She's the best timeline maker of anybody I've ever met. Sleuthy Goosey is the world's best timeline maker. And so what an amazing opportunity we have to listen to her talk about that. Deborah Lee, it's really good to see you. Thank you for that super sticker. I hope you are doing well. My goodness, it's good to see you. Thank you for that.
Track down some things to kind of figure out where the certain rumors came from. And so it's been pretty frustrating. So I want people to come up, and I encourage everybody to come up and talk. And if you're confused about something or have a question about something, we can talk about it. But you know, the 4chan stuff, like I don't even want to go there with all the 4chan stuff and that crazy nonsense. Hi
everyone. She did have a total meltdown, but I convinced her to come anyway. So thanks for coming. I think someone just, I think we've got someone coming up. Sleuthy, so someone has
Hey,
a question.
Sleuthy.
Hey.
I just had a question. I was reading her timeline, and on there it does say that Xana's father spoke to her, and she was apparently at home. But then on the timeline, it also says that they got home at 1:45, Xana and Ethan. So I'm just confused by that. Like, did they leave again? Do we know for sure?
So we don't. He did say that. He said that he spoke to her at midnight when they were getting ready to go out, meaning he and I guess his wife or whoever he was talking to. The reason that I put them both on there is because law enforcement, 2 reasons actually. They keep saying that they were home at 1:45, and I feel like maybe not enough of us are talking about the fact that her dad said that she was home when he spoke to her at midnight. Otherwise, then maybe they might clarify, because if you remember, it was 1:45 that the other girls got home too, for the longest time, even though they had the information that said that they didn't. So I'm inclined to believe Dad, but it's almost a 2-hour difference, and so
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just weird
forget that he
because
said that.
as a college kid, I mean, when I was partying or going out, I didn't typically come back home just to leave again. If I was out, I would stay out. So that's why it doesn't really make sense that he said he spoke to them at midnight and they were home. And then, you know, there's other stories that say they didn't get home till 1:45. So I just thought that was an interesting thing to look more into, maybe if people have more information.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the party, just the timing of the party, because I was adding things. I was adding the calls and looking like at the reports to try to add more details to the reports. And I had found the invitation. I think I tweeted. I don't even remember. I might have tweeted it. Like the post that Sigma Chi made to say what the party theme was. Did I do that?
Yeah, you posted that. I saw it.
Okay, so that put the party to supposed to be from 9:30 to 2. And
What was the party theme? I'm sorry, I missed her say that. Can somebody enlighten me about what the party theme is?
Xana and Ethan, when they originally brought up their timeline, they said that they were seen at Sigma Pi from 8 to 9. It's still like hairy there of whether or not, because they're telling reporters, some of them, that they were there until 1:45, but then they're not fixing it on like their press releases and stuff. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it makes sense if they were there from 8 to 9, just because. So let's say they go there at 8, they're helping clean up or whatever, and she went to go meet Ethan there because that's where he lives. Ethan sends that Venmo at 8:40, and 20 minutes later, let's say that they leave and they do go home to hang out at home together, like Xana's dad said that they were doing. The next thing that comes up with that is these police calls. So once I saw that post, these police calls made more sense to me, because it seems, and I was talking to Jess about this before we came on here, and I think she agrees, that it seems like this detail to look for underage drinking was set up specifically to be in that immediate area for kids coming and going from that party. So it's supposed to start at 9:30. The very first kind of contact that they have is there are 2 police officers in an unmarked vehicle, and this comes from the police report that I requested from them. There are 2 police officers in plain clothes in an unmarked car, less than 250 feet from the King Road house at the apartment complex right in front of them. So all the people that Brian and when he walked in between all those houses to show you how close like Sigma Chi was to the King Road house, that pathway would have been in their sight. So it really was a smart place to be sitting, to if you're looking for drunk kids that aren't supposed to be drinking, going from one place to the other, that was a good spot. So they point out that at 9:50, they see this group of 3 boys walking, kind of stumbling. One fell like as they were crossing the road, and 11 minutes later, at 3:01 is when.
If you guys think 1.5 speed is too fast, put a 1 in the chat. If you think 1.5 speed was fine, put a 2 in the chat. Because I like it fast, personally. I'm really good at fast. But if you guys like it slow, we'll go slow, you know? It seems like really on the fence. Let's try it slow for a second, and then we'll go back if it's too slow.
And they finally made contact with these guys. So they were sitting there watching them for 10 minutes before they approached them. So right when the party was supposed to start, here they are, they're sitting there and they're waiting. That makes sense to me. They didn't close that call with those 3 boys until 3:32. So I guess something that I'm struggling with is, and what I'm struggling with is if their time of death is between 3 and 4 o'clock, and someone had earlier thought that it was like 3 and 6 o'clock, and we were talking about that for anybody else that was thinking the same thing. They never did move the time of death. That was the 3 to 6 a.m. was when they're looking for footage in the area. So if their time of death is between 3 and 4 a.m., I guess I'm personally hung up on this thought that their purpose there was to be in that location, to be looking for drunk kids. How did they, if it was some outside person or even I'm trying to be super careful. I don't want to start like another new rumor or anybody think I'm saying something that I'm not, but I just like, they're there. If it was some outside person or an unknown vehicle or a car that sped away, or like there was screaming or something, like they were literally less than 250 feet from the house. And if you're looking at a map of King Road, like.
She's right. Brian Hinton said they were a 30-second walk away from the house. That's a big deal.
That area, they were parked in a spot where when you come out of King Road, they were in the middle of your 2 access points out to the main road. So they would have seen a car turn either left or right, like on the main road.
She's making great points, guys. Again, she's one of the smartest people that I know when it comes to timelines and understanding that kind of stuff. She has a full spreadsheet over on her Twitter page, twitter.com/sleuthygoosey. And we'll continue to watch this. Hey, thank you so much, Amy Heights, for that super sticker. Really appreciate that. What an amazing blessing. Thank you. I was wondering if people forgot we were doing a train. That takes us to 17, only 2 away from our goal. Thank you so much.
On Taylor Avenue, that's where they were sitting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of there would be A, there were no screams, and B, maybe it just so happened to be after they had left that area. Like, they waited for the police to leave that area specifically after the 3:32 timestamp.
They could have. I actually, it just kind of clicked whenever you just asked me about that gas station footage. If you're looking at like kind of where that's at, so there was only one more call for the rest of that night. So they had the call at Banfield. They gave those 3 kids the citations. And then there was only one other call at 3:38, and it says it was for theft. It doesn't give you a proper address. It just says South Main Street. It looks like it says identity theft, but it's really not in the right spot. But that was at 3:38, like immediately after. And then there's no other calls until almost 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm thinking, where's all the other drunk kids that was leaving there and walking home? Like, you were there for that 35-minute period. Well, longer than that, because they were there at 2:50. And then no other calls whatsoever, like no fights, no accidents, no nobody was causing any kind of commotion. It was just, it's strange to me. But if you look at the map, like, and then you think about that car that was the unmarked car, like, why couldn't that car on the gas station footage have been the police going back to the police station from that area? Because the police station is like in between that gas station and King Road. Oh, I got 2 people here.
There's way more than that, Sleuthy. There's over 1,000. Don't discount us. Hey, Donna D, thank you for that super sticker. Really appreciate that. That takes us to 18. And concerning Officer Payton, do you mean Payne, the location among acoustics? It's like an amphitheater. Doctora Latina always has great thoughts, like amazing thoughts when it comes to these cases. And she has her own channel. You guys should follow it if you don't already, where especially in the Kylie Rodney case, when there was the autopsy and stuff, I really enjoyed that coverage. Naomi says, let's take a minute and thank Tyler for everything he does for us. Also, a huge thanks for the amazing mods. Oh, we have the most amazing mods. You hit that one nail on the head right there, Naomi. Bada bing, bada boop. Thank you so much. Our mods are so awesome. And you know what, Naomi? You're pretty awesome yourself. So thank you. We greatly appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for your appreciation. It really means a lot, and it warms my heart, and it makes such a difference in my life. And it gives us energy to continue to do this. And Amy actually keeps track of every single person in the Feller fam, and her computer something messed up, and she lost like all the work by some technological glitch that had happened like the past 2-3 months of work, I think. Maybe more than that, 4 months of work, maybe. And it's been heartbreaking and devastating because she's been working so hard on it. She has the Feller fam map. She has a spreadsheet with the location of every single person who's in the Feller fam and where they live, and the computer zapped it. And so she's been working to recover that. So we need to thank her for her hard work. Thank you so much, Laura from Long Island. Really appreciate that. Thank you for that super sticker.
Like, Jess, do you think that it's weird that there were no additional calls, having been in like Greek life? And
I mean, I do. I think that it could be weird. I also feel like there may be an explanation for that, although I don't know what that might be. But I like typically, I don't know if they're setting up there to, watch for underage drinking or whatever the case may be. That sounds reasonable to me. They used to do that where I went to college too, so that makes sense. But I don't know. I don't remember it being for like only a portion of a night type thing. I feel like they would be there all night, but who knows?
So real quick, can we go back to the police are talking to these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, if I'm watching the video, the lights on the house go off at the same time the police are leaving.
I personally,
did you guys see that, or is that me? Did anyone see that?
Well, I sort of, not quite. So I'm not the best at seeing that kind of stuff. I did, however, see, I wouldn't have called it like an entire room light was on. It more or less looked to me like what I would look like walking through my house in the middle of the night with my cell phone flashlight on, like going past a window and then disappearing. That's what it looked like to me. But I did see a light, but it didn't look like a room.
Okay. So for me, I could go back and look at it, but it did. What piqued my interest was
the thing that I saw that they're talking about. I felt like a light went off in the room and the lamp was still on. That was my perspective, but everybody, you know what I mean, has their own interpretation of what they think possibly took place.
Really does look like, from what I saw, the light is turned off. And at the same time, the police are, it's all like they're disbanding and going their own way, which I thought was really interesting. Because that means that the timing of the crime could potentially would be right after the police left, after the 3:15 mark, right? And I don't remember if it was the third floor or the second floor that the light went up. I wanted to say it was the third floor. Does anyone remember that?
It was the third floor. I vaguely remember seeing something about this, but I think you're right.
Anyway, that to me is interesting.
Does anybody know the timestamp on that? I think I could go back because I know someone sent me the clip, but I felt like there was a timestamp of like 3:14 that might have been when that was. And the only reason
it was around, I want to say it was around that time. It was either 3:12, 3:20. It wasn't 3:21, so 3:12, 3:14 ish.
Because I'm thinking, so if that's so, then for an additional 15 minutes, like they were still there for another 15 minutes. But are you saying that okay, so I go in, I shut the light off because I'm getting ready to do whatever?
Right. Yes. So the crime is being, I'm sorry, I'm eating.
That's okay.
The crime is being committed at that time. You flip the light switch off. So I'm,
Then
they also said one of the rooms the window was obscured. So they may close the window or they put something in front of it and then turn the light off. I'm not sure, but
and now knowing what we know when the light was going off, and then a little bit later, that possible scream that we hear, I mean, she could be right. She could be absolutely right.
I did say that Maddie's window was obscured with something.
Yeah, I think it was that Fox, when they wrote that Fox article, and they said that they quoted Dad as saying that they didn't cover up Kaylee's window like they did the other kids' windows, which I mean, if nothing happened in Kaylee's room, then but I would imagine they would cover it. Not for nothing, but there was a lot of like reporters that were in there trying to take pictures inside the rooms. I would fully expect even the police to have done that. But
yeah,
if
so
it was,
I'm wondering if they, at that point, had they gone right upstairs and they turned or they went to bed. So the girls went to bed is what we're saying. The girls went to bed.
Well, you have to remember they were making all those phone calls. They didn't stop. The last phone call was at 2:52. So you're only talking like a 20-minute.
Right. They're,
I mean,
but it's, yeah, 3 something in the morning. They're tired, drunk. They turn the light off. The cops leave, but it's right at that time. Isn't that weird?
I just feel like, not so much that they might have heard a scream, although I did. So there was this one guy that was saying that there were locks on all of the doors.
Yeah.
I finally saw that today, and he did live there. And so, but the renovated pictures don't show the same locks. But then there was a separate, I think it was November 18th, from an article with KTVB, where they had an anonymous source who lived there in like 2015 or something like that, who said that they lived on the first floor and they couldn't hear anything in other parts of the house. But then I have something from someone who lived there a couple of years ago, like 2019 maybe, that lived on the third floor, and they said they could hear everything throughout the house, like everything. And that Enan Harsh, in his interview that he did with somebody on YouTube, I was listening to it the other day, he said that place is like an amphitheater. So like where their house is like in the center. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't scream. I mean, I've like wrecked a car before where I've wanted to scream and I've not. So like,
Xana had to scream.
I mean, you could fight back without screaming.
How? I'm trying to think about this. If someone's coming at me, I mean, I think unless you're cut, your throat's cut, I think you're normally going to.
So hypothetically, let's say that was a real scream that we heard. Who do you think it was that gave the scream? Like, I'd love to know. Like, who do you think it was that was giving out the scream? Hypothetically, that was a real scream. And if you're going off the sequence of events that I think took place, which is the girls in the third floor were murdered first, and Xana was murdered fourth, Ethan was murdered third. Was it a Xana scream, or was it a scream from Kaylee or Madison, and it woke Ethan enough to go in the kitchen? And I don't know the answer. It's impossible to know the answer, but that's sort of like the topic at hand. And I don't know if it's significant or not, other than it helps tighten up the timeline of when something like this possibly took place. So a lot of you guys are saying you think it was Xana.
Scream. I don't know.
I'll tell you that, like, my mom, she always, it's not funny. It's like a joke, but it's not funny. But she says, like, God forbid I ever need help. Like, I can't scream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean you can't scream? Like, you would scream. And she's like, no, like, I can't. Like the ear piercing, like, screams that like my 4-year-old can do. She's like, I can't do that. But I don't know. I feel like my main issue with bringing up like these officers being there is the fact that I'm looking at this map and I'm thinking, if it's at least one person that's in a vehicle and that's how they get in, out, and make their escape, it had to have been caught at some point on either the police's footage, their dash cam footage, their body cam footage, or the plethora of cameras that are all over the place that are traffic cameras.
Real quick question though, and I didn't want to interrupt you guys talking, but my thought was in regards to what you just said, especially was, so here we are in the beginning, the mother and I think sister said something that there was a camera footage of when exactly the girls got home, right?
Yes.
And then the next day or the day after, it was reported that it wasn't the neighbor across the street, because I think it was Brian Ethan who said they just installed the camera footage. So some neighbor had camera footage of the girls coming home. So somehow, somewhere, there has to be camera footage of if the person left by car or even by foot on the street, let's say, visibly. There has to be footage of that, no?
You know
You know
how,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
if the girls were seen being dropped off.
Well, I don't think there's footage in the back though. So if they left, it came
I
in
didn't
from the
say
back.
that though.
What's that?
I didn't say that. I'm saying that the sister and mother said that they got footage of some neighbor.
Yes, the Uber dropping the girls,
Right.
not like at their front door, but they saw
Right.
like,
So it
yeah,
had to be somewhere by the street.
it was by
Wherever.
the front. It was actually, so if you're looking directly at the house in front of you, there's like a blue. Oh, matter of fact, there's articles that are written where it's like the two girls and the guy that are standing on their front deck, like with the house directly behind it, and it's a blue house. That's the footage, but it only shows like that parking lot facing out to King Road, so it's the opposite direction. But you would see a car pull onto King Road.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if someone really left by car at that area or in that area, then it would have been seen by that same camera.
So it was not, whoever it was did not leave by car.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm just
That's what I
saying.
feel. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel that's what I'm kind of getting at with like with the police.
That's all I
officers
wanted to
being
say
there.
tonight. So
Yeah, I agree with
So
you.
in the back where they have that parking lot, the back parking lot that's really dark.
yes, that one.
So they can, if they want to leave that area and drive down, you're saying that they have to curve around and come down that King's Road. There's only one way out, right?
Yeah, I'm looking now. If they were in a vehicle, yeah, but if they were, say, on foot and they climbed like up and they parked like on the road behind it, they could.
Yep.
But I just feel like.
Hey, Naomi, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Really appreciate that. Thank you for keeping our train moving along. I was wondering if people forgot about it, if they knew we were still rolling down the bend. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate that.
That would also be not obvious, but it's like more dark. So for instance, up here, it's much more dark than it is down on the main road. If there's a car up here or driving up here, like I'll know it, and it doesn't matter what time of night because it's so black outside. I can hear it and I can see it, and it's deceiving because I can hear cars that are like a mile away that never even make it to my road because of how the mountains are here. But I just feel like there would have been a vehicle there. And here's the thing: if there's no vehicle that's seen anywhere, then it's not some random ass stranger, which I do want to get into kind of what was going on that weekend, but it's not some kind of random stranger that doesn't know the roads, doesn't know that they can't get down this road and get to that back parking lot. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the neighbor that you were saying didn't have footage until after that was that Jeremy.
Hey, Patty, Duck for Life. How are you? Thank you, Patty. It's so good to have your support. Really means a lot. Thank you so much. And Duck for Life, thank you. Really appreciate your guys' support. Don't forget today, any support over $55 and a super sticker gets a peppermint mocha and an autograph. Don't stop book. How great is that? It's a steal of a deal. This is 16 ounces of ground coffee. Really, really, really good coffee. And this is a book that I wrote from my heart and soul. So it's a double win right there.
When he was like, we didn't have any cameras, but we do now. And the one that lives in the apartment complex right next door. One of the things that bugs me is Xana. Now, could she have been lying to her dad? Sure. But I just, I guess I just don't feel that. I mean, like, he knows she's in college. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I just wouldn't have. I mean, my mom would have not done anything. You know what I mean? What's he gonna do? Like call like campus patrol and be like, they're going. You know, it just wouldn't happen. So, but there was a story kind of floating around, a theory floating around that the person was inside the house already, kind of when they got home. And a way that I could see that as being possible would be if Xana and Ethan. So let's say everybody's out of the house 8 o'clock and they're waiting in the house. Xana and Ethan are home at midnight, let's just say, at the latest. And then something happens to them and then they wait for Kaylee and Maddie. But my only issue with that is you would have then heard the other roommates come in at 1. And the path to Xana's room is at the top of the steps. Like, it's not like it's a closed door where you don't know there's another set of steps. So like the whole, maybe they didn't know somebody lived down there kind of thing. It just doesn't, it's not like.
Well, do you think that maybe somebody came home with Xana and Ethan and
They could have.
The girls that did come home later, they didn't go upstairs. They just stayed on that first floor, maybe?
Yeah, I went back and was watching the first press conference. And in that press conference, I actually, I don't think I posted them to Twitter, but I did transfer.
You guys think it's possible it's somebody that they were actually friends with who was just spending the night there? Like, totally didn't even break in the house? That's what I thought of as they're talking right now. I'm like, is it actually possible that someone that they're just friends with was like spending the night with them? Like maybe another guy from the Sigma Chi was spending the night in the other room on the second floor? Just a little thought I had. Thank you, Amy Heights, for that super sticker. Our super sticker train conductor. Thank you, Amy Heights. What an amazing blessing. Thank you.
Describe the first 2 press conferences. I'll put it in here because a lot of us like to read. But in the first press conference, it was kind of when everybody found out that there were roommates that were unharmed, that were on the first floor. And the reporters were like, wait, so there were 2 additional people inside the house? And they said yes. And then they said, like, how many additional people were in the house? Like, you're saying that they called 911 from a roommate's phone, but it wasn't the roommate. Like, how many? And that was when they said that there were other friends there. And
I think it's crazy that there are other friends there. And I made a story basically about that, is short about that. And people were like, why are you talking about this? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, because if there's that many people there, it's possible they were contaminating the crime scene. Hey, Brent, thank you for that super sticker. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What an amazing blessing. Really appreciate your support of our channel. Hope you're doing well.
But in that first one, they said how many people were there, and he was like, we think 2. Exactly like that. We think 2. I'm thinking that they are not. They want to know who all was inside that house, and I know that pictures have been found to show other people present in the house
Of that night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's not something that's being like just offered up. But it makes sense.
So how does one person get into this? Okay, the girls are upstairs sleeping in Maddie's room, so the door's locked or shut, which probably auto locks, maybe, I don't know. And so this perp comes upstairs. How does he get in there so they're still sleeping? While, you know what I mean?
I don't think the door's locked. I do not think the door's.
I don't think the door is locked either. I think they lock the doors whenever there's a huge party or something like that. I don't think they're just locking the doors at any given moment. I don't think that for a second. But could be wrong. You never know.
All had locks, and I don't think that they went to bed at night and like locked up their doors.
Yeah.
Because if like Xana and Ethan, obviously. So, okay, let's just say that let's say that that whole thing was true and dad replaced the lock and they all do have coded locks. Let's just say, how would someone have ever gotten into a coded locked room unless they knew the code? And the only person that would have known the code was the two of them. Or if Xana was like me, I'd have forgotten the code.
Well,
since it was only a week.
I don't know about that. This may not be true, but I did see a lot of reports in the beginning that because it was a party house, that there were a lot of people who knew that code.
No. To the bedrooms. We're talking about the bedroom doors being locked.
Either one. I mean, I don't know.
Or that's interesting though, is that if you slim down the people that would know the code to Maddie's room, would, you know.
I mean, it'd be very small. Nah, I don't think, because then we were talking about, they said there was no kind of forced entry whatsoever. So you would think that if someone bypassed locks to rooms or kicked a door down, that would be very obvious.
Yeah.
So I don't think they had to force their way into any bedrooms.
Right. So they knew the code. So they had to have known the code.
Well, unless the bedroom doors were not locked.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. True.
Hello?
Which I could also very easily see happening.
I think they were unlocked. I don't think they would like accidentally leave the sliding door unlocked, but then like make sure that everybody was like locking their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I heard someone say hello.
I just wanted to say hi to everybody. So is it verified that there are electronic locks on the bedroom doors?
No.
Okay, because usually an electronic lock is only on the front door or like a garage. So for me, when they said her father went to change the locks, I think he just changed a regular lock to like a doorknob or something, because those are easy, cheap.
Yeah, but this guy's clearly not in the loop. The guy who lived there before said the individual bedrooms had numbered locks because they were renting the rooms out per person, not the entire house out. And so there's several times where different folks would be staying in there. And so just because of the nature of the house, the individual rooms had individual numbered keypad locks. Hey, Florence, you said that's what I think. Someone was there. Great theory. A lot of people think that. So thank you for your super chat.
And the landlords wouldn't freak out.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to say hi to all of you guys, especially you, Sleuthie Goosey.
Hi. I'm so glad you joined us. I haven't had a Twitter space in forever. I almost didn't have this one.
Well, when I saw it pop up, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. I haven't had a chance to talk to her. I only see you in chats. So, and usually when I'm on panel, you're not in those chats. So I'm like, man.
I come in bursts. I'm like here and then I'm not. And then I'm like over there and then I'm not.
I just think they haven't released a lot. Like the information really, truly isn't. I had this discussion with a couple other people. I believe wholeheartedly, 100%, they have nothing right now. And the reason that they're focusing so much on the white car is they're hoping to get like a milk bone out of it. And because in other cases,
What's a milk bone? Isn't that a doggy treat? A milk bone? Isn't that a treat you feed your dog, like a little dog treat?
They've already released within the first week information, like the Aiden Fucci case, and all the other cases. They release the graphic details, but in this case, they're not, because I think, to be honest, this is just my speculation and opinion, they have nothing. They're just a bunch of cops who learned how to work crime scenes throughout their entire education of being a police officer, never had to use it. And when they approached the crime scene, they were like, okay, where do we start?
And it would be shocking too, right? So like I was thinking about that when I heard the chief say like that there were younger cops who had never been on a crime scene before. So to have walked into something like that and that be your first ever crime scene, and it'd be to that magnitude, I would imagine that not everyone was able. it's like the only way I can compare it, and I know there's like in here that will understand, like, is like, you know, you get all excited and like you want to see surgeries, and then like you see a surgery and it's a little different than like what you expect, even though you can watch it on TV, you can, it's much different in real life, like right in front of you.
Man, I really like Sleuthy Goosey. Hey, Sister Sleuth, you said, how do I send a $55 chat? Well, when I do mine on Super Chat, you can type in your own number and to anything you want. So I just click Super Chat and then I type in my number and then that's what happens. So maybe that's what you got to do. I don't know. You can try that. Try typing in your own number where the number box comes up. Andrea says, thank you for your super chat too, by the way. Andrea says, milk bone equals a tidbit of information. Oh, it's just a tiny bit of information. Okay, I was like, I don't understand the reference. I'm like, a dog treat? They're hoping to find a dog treat in the car? Why? What does that have to do with anything? So,
and I think that's been startling at first, and they did call people in really quickly, but again, and this is something that keeps getting brought up. I'm aware that there are 40 some odd FBI agents there, but the fact of the matter is that the Moscow PD is the lead on this case. So there could be 400 FBI agents there, but they're doing what they're told. So if someone's not telling them to go check this, do this, talk to that person, go over there and run that, like, they're not doing it. They're simply there to offer themselves and their time and their resources, but they're not making decisions. The case is fully in the Moscow PD's hands. So I hope you're wrong, but I hope that I hope they didn't just bring in help. I hope that they're absorbing the help and they're taking suggestions about what to do. But I also think that maybe the feeling of them having nothing might also come from the overwhelming chatter about kind of everything. I'll just speak for me personally. I've been very overwhelmed with the amount of just
hearsay,
pure like just.
Hey, Mitch Mitchell, hope you're doing well. Thank you for your super chat. You said, hey, Tyler, I don't think the police have a clue who did it or any real leads. That's a fear of mine. I've said that multiple times. I didn't call it a milk bone trying to search for this one little thing that they're searching for. But yeah, that was something else I was looking to say. And so people get upset about that, but I kind of agree with you at this point. We're a month and 6 days in. Thank you for your super chat, by the way.
Nobody ever knows where they heard anything. And it's just like, I'm all for, like, you guys know, talking in big groups and like coming up with theories so that we can, and I said this to Jess, like, the difference is I'm used to being in a group that's talking that way in order to think a little bit differently, to go find data somewhere else. Like, it's not just talking. It's like trying to talk our way into like what rabbit hole to head down to where we might be able to gather some type of data. And if there is no data, then you stop. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And brainstorm. This just constant just story after story, and nobody's trying to verify anything. And some of it takes 2 seconds to verify. It's just really like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Like, Jessica is like, this 4chan. I'm like, I don't even want to hear it. And I can't even believe that news stations are even talking about 4chan.
Wait,
news stations
why not?
jump on
Why
it right
not?
away. News stations jump on everything. It doesn't matter what it is. They immediately put it out there.
Hang on. I missed what she said. I want to try to read it. I don't even want to hear it. I can't even believe that news stations aren't talking about the 4chan. Okay. So that's what she's talking about. Yeah, I mean, they kind of are. So a couple of them have mentioned it. Hey, Sister Sleuth, you said, hope it counts to send separately. Excited about supporting and also coffee and a good autographed book. I only have a slider, but no option to type a price. Well, that's okay. Email press@tylerfeller.com your address so we can get that in the mail to you. Thank you so much. Aaron, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate your guys' support tonight. Thank you for helping out our stream. Amazing blessing.
While
The
we're on
way
the boat too, I just want to quickly remind, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Alexa.
you're totally fine. Go ahead.
Really quickly want to remind everyone that there is, Sleuthy has pinned right now a timeline that is amazing, and she put a lot of work into it, but it's got all of the sources linked. There are 4 tabs down at the bottom, so don't miss those. But I know a lot of people had missed that. I don't see all of her tweets, so if you haven't seen that yet and you want to look and see if anything that's been confirmed is there, and she always does a really good job at updating it kind of in live time. So that's all. Thanks.
No, absolutely. I love a lot of the stuff she puts up, because when I see it, and she probably sees all my comments all the time, I'll like immediately respond. No, but I look at every job just like a job that you get. So we'll use call centers as an example. When you're in a call center and you're working the phones, you don't know what all the other departments do. Even though you learned it in your training, they give you a brief overlay. It's just like any other job, just like being a cop. So when people are like, these guys are messing up left and right, well, they were trained to do this, but it's not their immediate job. They arrest drunk kids, they put out misdemeanors, they pull over cars. But walking into this
Right.
is
Yeah.
different. They're like, oh.
Hey, Alicia, you said Alicia Goose, prayers for the families. That's exactly where I'm at. We need to be praying for these families. I agree 100,000%. And appreciate your support because of your super chat of $55 or more today. Guess what that does? That puts you in position to get a peppermint mocha coffee and a Don't Stop book. Can't wait to send it out. Make sure you email me your address, press@tylerfeller.com.
Wait a minute. We learned about this, but to be honest, I never used it.
Yeah, and that's not even anything like, it's not bad to not have like any horrendous mass murders like all the time and be like really good at working them. It's just, and I don't even really think that it's criticism. I think it's just looking at it realistically, and realistically is probably not every, like, I wouldn't even be surprised to learn that every officer that walked into that scene is not working that, you know what I mean? It's not for everyone. And you have to think like these, just like you said, they're used to being around these kids, and the drunk, people walking around drunk and stuff. So like, I was watching a video.
I'm going to switch gears just a tiny bit. I'm putting the link to Sleuthy Goosey's Twitter page in the chat if you guys want to finish that stream out. Hey, Sister Sleuth, you said another gift. I never miss a stream, but I miss the lives. Keep up the good work. God has an amazing plan for you. Looking forward to the book. Well, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that. What an encouragement you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cannot wait to get this coffee and book in the mail to you. Thank you for your support. Be sure to email those of you who've sent a super chat for $55 or more. Make sure to super chat. Email me, press@tylerfeller.com. By the way, we only have 4 left. So we only have 4 left. Naomi, I have quite a bit of art left, including this one right here, which is one of my favorites. But so if you're interested, you can get this one. Or I have several on tylerfeller.com/store available. Or I have one that I haven't really had an opportunity to post on the website yet, but I think it's really cool. I'll show a picture of it. Here it is right here. And that one's huge. This one's 30 inches by 40 inches. Like, it's enormous. So I have several pieces of art available, actually, if you're interested. And thank you for asking. I'm I'm an artist, believe it or not. And some people like my art. Some people don't, but that's okay. Here's the thing about art. You only need one person to like it. That's it.
Where are we at with?
By the way, this is an update from the police today.
The number of tips that have come in and leads.
We have had right around 10,000 tips come in. We're reviewing all those tips. We're checking to ensure that we have individuals who look at those tips and any piece of evidence that they can link to this case, they're doing so.
What about the video evidence? How is that reviewed? What do you do with it?
So we have a special team of individuals who are skilled at watching videos, collecting evidence and information out of those videos and linking them together so that we can tie every piece together for this investigation.
What do you have for an update about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have many tips that have come in on the 2011 to the 2013 Hyundai Elantra. But what we're asking is anybody else who still hasn't sent in a tip, if you own one or if you know somebody who was driving one the day before or the day after, to please send that tip in.
What about the holidays? What does that mean for the investigation and all the people working on it?
That does not change anything for us. We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And finally, why is it important to keep video digital submissions part of the investigation as it's sorted through?
Well, as our individuals are sorting through that, all that information could be one key piece for this investigation. So they're reviewing all that, they're looking at that, and they're looking for any keys that tie together any specific investigative pieces that we need to solve this case.
New surveillance video shows two victims of the University of Idaho murders in the Moscow area just hours before they were killed. Investigators are now trying to piece together the timeline from that night, including in this new video, to find any sort of lead in this case. We're being joined now by Fox News multimedia reporter live outside the Moscow police headquarters in Idaho, Jake Karalexis. Jake, thanks for being with us tonight. We're going to show the video. We've shown it a couple of times already, but walk us through what police are thinking.
Well, it's good to see you, Andrew. So this video was obtained by Fox News Digital from the creators of a Facebook group called University of Idaho Case Discussion. And it shows two of the victims, Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, a few hours before they were murdered in the downtown Moscow area. They're walking with a man near campus, and this man is wearing similar clothes to a man who was spotted with Kaylee and Madison at a food truck that same evening. But police say the man at the food truck is not a suspect. Something else relevant from that video, Andrew, is that both girls mention the name Adam, but they don't say it directly to the man they are walking with. And over the weekend, Kaylee's father told Fox News that Adam is also not a suspect. So police haven't named a suspect in this investigation, but they say that more agents are being added to this case. And with the holidays coming up, they won't be taking a break.
Not change anything for us. We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And Andrew, today police say that the number of tips and leads they've received now over 10,000. They also say that they're making progress finding more information related to that white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra spotted near the scene on the night of the murders. Andrew.
Jake, I don't know if you know the answer to this. I'm going to ask it anyway, though. Did police know about this piece of video before it was obtained by Fox News Digital? Had they already seen it, possibly?
So as far as we know, Andrew, when Fox News Digital obtained the video, that's the first that we saw of it. I don't know personally if police knew about it before or not, but they didn't really comment on it today in their release. They focused mostly on the 10,000 tips and leads they've gotten. And again, referencing that white Elantra that they are so desperate to find information on.
Yeah, of course. And Jake, we know the police don't have a license plate number for that Elantra. Obviously, that would make their job much easier. And you were reporting just last week, there's some 22,000 make and models of these vehicles that they're looking for, both in Washington State and Idaho. So they have their work cut out for them. But we heard from the police chief in your report, and they said they're not backing down, going full speed ahead through the holidays. Are they hopeful that possibly they might get a break before the new year?
I mean, Andrew, they're just continuing to go through those leads, continuing to look for evidence. They say that, again, we heard the number. It's over 10,000 tips and leads at this point. So they say it takes a little bit of time to go through those leads, figure out which ones are relevant and which ones aren't, and try to search through there. So the information has been coming in very slowly over the last week or so, and they're hopeful that they will be able to find a break in this case soon, but nothing at this point, Andrew.
All right, Jake Karalexis there live for us in Moscow, Idaho. Jake, we always appreciate it. We'll talk again. Okay, and in the meantime, we do want to kind of dive a little deeper into this new surveillance video that was obtained by Fox News Digital over the weekend. We want to put this up on the screen for you here. Okay, so take a look at some of the...
It's interesting to me that basically every single channel just continues talking about this same topic, like again and again and again and again, this surveillance footage. It's like, is it because they don't have any other talking points, or is it because it's actually significant and important? So I want to know sort of what you guys are thinking about it, because we keep watching them talk about this, and every single time I'm like, I'm not sure that there's significance to this.
This is newly disclosed. It was taken early on November the 13th. It appears to show both Kaylee Goncalves and Maddie Mogen walking with a man in downtown Moscow hours before that quadruple stabbing in that rental house on the campus. So the women appear to be wearing the same clothes that both Goncalves and Mogen were seen sporting that same evening on that video that you probably have seen outside of a nearby food truck. The man walking with them is also wearing clothes that look like those on a man seen at the food truck, whom police have said is not a suspect. So in the video, a woman asks the group, Maddie, what did you say to Adam? And that is caught on the surveillance camera. The second woman replies, like, I told Adam everything. So the first woman's voice appears to match that of Goncalves, according to her TikTok. According to her father, Steve, the Adam the women mentioned is not a suspect. Police have also ruled out the suspect as well, like Jake said. So Steve Goncalves told Lawrence Jones on Fox that, quote, we asked into the obvious due diligence and we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect. So this video was first provided to Fox News Digital on Saturday by Christine Cameron and Alina Smith. They're the creators and administrators of the University of Idaho Murders Case Discussion Facebook group, under the condition only a still frame and the audio be used. And they told Fox Digital it was provided to them by a Moscow resident who previously submitted it to police and believes making it public can provide greater context about the incident. And then Fox then obtained permission to show the entire full video clip there, which is what we are doing right now. So it's something, it's not much. It shows kind of what some of these victims were doing in the hours before their violent stabbing, at least two of them. And so no doubt investigators have a long road ahead of them as they work through so many of these tips. Remember, just last week, we know that they expanded their search to about a 30-mile radius around Moscow to some other neighboring towns. And also remember, they're still kind of honing in, focusing in on what could be a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra that they're still looking for information. They want the driver of that to come forward to provide any more details. Okay, and like Jake said, we did hear from James Fry, the Moscow police chief, in a video today posted on both their Facebook and YouTube accounts, updating us on the investigation going into the Christmas holidays. Let's listen.
Where are we at with the number of tips that have come in and leads?
We've had right around 10,000 tips come in. We're reviewing all those tips. We're checking to ensure that we have individuals who look at those tips and any piece of evidence that they can link to this case, they're doing so.
What about the video evidence? How is that reviewed? What do you do with it?
So we have a special team of individuals who are skilled at watching videos, collecting evidence and information out of those videos and linking them together so that we can tie every piece together for this investigation.
What do you have for an update about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have many tips that have come in on the 2011 to the 2013 Hyundai Elantra. But what we're asking is anybody else who still hasn't sent in a tip, if you own one or if you know somebody who was driving one the day before or the day after, to please send that tip in.
What about the holidays? What does that mean for the investigation and all the people working on it?
That does not change anything for us. We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And finally, why is it important to keep video digital submissions part of the investigation as it's sorted through?
Well, as our individuals are sorting through that, all that information.
Hey, Southern Gal Jen, you said Merry Christmas to you all and a good night. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Hope you're doing well. Can you believe it's almost Christmas? I lost your super sticker. It went away. I don't know what happened to it. I'm getting lost in the chat. Naomi, thank you for that super sticker. What an amazing blessing. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you, Amy Heights. Time for our final super sticker train. We don't have much time left on the stream. I'm wondering if we can just get 10 super stickers real fast to finish us off. You guys are so amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We already got Southern Gal Jen and Naomi. So we're already rolling on this train. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've already watched this interview. I'm going to put this thing up from News Nation. It talks about the different possible escape paths.
Bird's eye view can yield a lot of clues as to how the killer may have made an escape. I want to show you a Google map of the area, and you can see the crime scene is marked in the middle of your screen, 1122 King Road. The Sigma Chi fraternity is down the hill from the house, but it is up at the top of your screen. You can see it there off to the left. On the right is that A&W fast food place and the gas station that's next to Highway 95. And we know the police took surveillance video from that spot, possibly to track that mystery white Hyundai Elantra. Up until now, the prevailing theory has been that the killer approached the house from here, from the front. Real easy to see, real easy to figure out where you're going, especially in the dark. But maybe that killer didn't go through the front door. Maybe the killer went up to the left, up King Road, up here. Maybe they walked to the back, to the sliding glass door or the window that would give them entrance to the kitchen. But what if none of this happened? What if we've gotten it wrong or our...
It's such a funky shaped house every time I see it. Hey, Patty, thank you for hopping aboard. What an amazing blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Assumptions have been way off the mark. What if the killer actually made the approach from the back of the house? Things are a little different if you look at the map. So the Google map will show you that there is a very thick line of trees. It's like a little mini forest that's right behind the house. And if you think about it, that would provide a heck of a lot of cover for anybody trying to approach in the dark undetected. On the other side of those trees, the bottom of your screen is a long snaking road called Walenta Drive. If the killer did indeed come from that direction, I'm going to tell you firsthand, Walenta Drive would be an ideal place to pull over, park your car, get out without being noticed.
She thinks they're on Walenta Drive. Very interesting there. Ashley Banfield. Thank you so much, Lanny, for hopping aboard the super sticker train. That's 4 on our goal to get to 10. Almost there. Thank you for your support. Really appreciate it.
Because there aren't that many cars in that spot. There aren't that many houses either. Certainly, likely very few ring cams. That spot is also ideal because Walenta Drive provides plenty of ways to get away after a crime. That's because Walenta Drive is not a dead-end street. Far from it. I want you to look at how many escape options there are to drive away from that spot. Route number 1, the killer takes Walenta Drive to Nez Perce Drive. That's the road that the Sigma Chi house is actually located on, that red line right there. Easy to get away.
Nez Perce Drive, that red line there. Hey, Naomi, thank you. That's number 5. We're halfway there, guys.
Route number 2, the killer takes Walenta Drive in the opposite direction. That would take you past the A&W gas station and maybe give you a way to merge on to Highway 95. Route number 3, well, that route joins Taylor Avenue almost immediately. And then you'd pass by that school field. You've heard about it. It's called Band Field. And it also takes you by the A&W gas station before also giving you a real quick exit onto Highway 95. And this one might actually be the most likely route because of what Brian Enton learned yesterday. The owner of a 6-unit rental building on this street here called Linda Lane. See how close it is to the house where the kids were murdered? That owner turned over surveillance video to the police showing, you guessed it, a light-colored or white car driving down Taylor Avenue right around the time of the murders. Now, let's be clear. That could have been the killer's car if the killer had parked on Walenta Drive and taken that last route, Route 3, Taylor Avenue, to the highway. But guess what else it could be? It could have been somebody just driving down Taylor at that same time the killer was. And police just might want to find out if that person driving the white car might have actually seen the killer's car. All of these theories depend on whether the killer actually could approach and escape that crime scene through those thick trees just beyond the backyard. And I'm going to come back to that in just a moment because that is one very big if, and it is key to all of those routes and all of those escapes. First, though, word from Moscow police that they have now screened the majority of the content that they have been gathering up from, quote, critical cameras during crucial times before and after the homicides.
My gosh. I feel like there should be more cameras available. Naomi! Thank you. Hey, Rob. Yeah, Sister Sleuth was having this problem too. You said it doesn't allow me to specifically do 55. Anyways, what I find annoying about this case is that everyone zeroes in on irrelevant things and tries to make it a big deal, like the glove, like Nancy Grace did a whole episode in particular about that glove. So you're exactly right. By the way, thank you so much. Make sure you email press@tylerfeller.com with your address. That way we can send you a coffee and a book in the mail. And I appreciate your support. And I agree. We sometimes, I've done it too. I'm at fault in some ways in that I zero in on something that's not important. So I agree, but thank you for pointing that out. We need to do a better job. I need to do a better job. Thank you, Brandon. You said, good evening, everybody. Good evening to you. How are you? Really appreciate it.
Which really, honestly, that sounds like a milestone. Thing is, they're not saying yet what was seen on those critical cameras at those crucial times. And adding to the frustration, honestly, there are still, quote, hours and hours of content submitted by businesses and homes and by the public that remains to be vetted. Thank you for watching. Go to new.
Thank you for watching. Yeah, this is some of the same old news. You're exactly right about that. Yeah, we're pretty much don't have much more to talk about. I want to take a second and just read through some of your guys' comments because I want to know who you guys think did it. And so go ahead and put it in the comment section. I'll bring them up and we can sort of like roll through some of them. Open Gate says, killer was in the home already. I'm sticking to that. That was brought up on the Sleuthy Goosey Twitter page that we talked about. They didn't specifically say that, I don't think, but yeah, they did actually. And so that's one theory. It's not the theory that I think happened, but it is a possible theory. And several people have said that and have mentioned that. So I understand what you're saying. I could imagine the killer ditching the car. Me too. Amy Height says book. Yeah, it is a good book. Carol says, I don't know what to think. Unfortunately, a lot of people are kind of in that same boat. By the way, guys, on our peppermint mocha coffee, we only have 2 left now after this people who bought some through those super stickers today. So we only have 2 of these left, and then we're out. So if you're wanting to get peppermint coffee, we have 2 left. You can go to www.movement-coffee.com, and then we're sold out of coffee for the rest of the month for sure. Hey, Rebecca Heck, it's good to see you. You said frat boys or the triplets or the ex-boyfriend. Hey, Heaven57, thank you for hopping aboard that super sticker train. Michelle, I know they said that they found a car. I actually have a picture of it. I'll put it up. I didn't know if it was like the car. Are they saying it's the car? I know they found a car. And it maybe could be the car, but I didn't know if it was the car. There's only one way to tell. The only thing I can realize is that it has this. Whoever bought it paid cash for it, and they wrecked it in Oregon and left it in the trail. Can your train drive to Canada for coffee? That'd be funny. I do want to take a train, and I think it'd be really fun to take a train to Canada. I've only been to Canada once, but I would love to go again. So it'd be fun. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Thank you for that super sticker. That leaves us with only 1 peppermint mocha left. What an amazing blessing. And make sure you send me your address. Really appreciate you. The art varies in prices. You can go to tylerfellow.com/store and see those prices. Really donation to our ministry. It goes into the benevolence fund that we have. And so in the price that you guys see on the website, if you really want one of those art pieces and you can't afford what price I have, then just email me and offer me a price, and then we'll try to make a deal. Hey, Jamie, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys. You're so amazing. Sandra says the blueberry pancake coffee is so good. I might do it again for January. I'm really considering doing the blueberry pancake coffee again in January because it sold out very fast and everyone seems to really love it. And so I'll probably do another order of the blueberry pancake. I haven't heard very much feedback yet on the peppermint mocha, so I'm interested to see what people's feedback is. But everybody's like giving me amazing feedback on that blueberry pancake. Jamie, thank you for that. Jamie, please email me your address. Pretty, please. That way we can get it in the mail to you. I want to know more on the roommates. I understand why they aren't talking. I understand why they're not talking too. I wish we did know more information about them as well. It's something that I'm really upset about. You know what, the wizard wall, that's a great question. That needs to be addressed. I don't know why the law enforcement's not ever came out and said anything about it. And I would appreciate like Brian Inton or one of the news reporters that's had an opportunity to interview to one of those people, that I would appreciate if they would ask them that. You know what I mean? Like ask them that question. What about the handprint on the window? Hey, Rob, you said it was a random stranger who scoped out the house. A frat boy didn't do this, or any college student for that matter. Hey, a lot of people agree with you. It'd be really interesting to see how that ends up breaking down and try to get down to the bottom of it. And hopefully soon, that's part of my prayer, hopefully soon we'll be able to get down to the bottom of this. Thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate that. Rob, Mickey wants to know if you think it was a drifter. I personally think it was someone that one of them knew or ran into. It could have been even, like, to take Rob's theory into effect, like someone from the corner club bar who was just sort of spying on him. You know what I mean? And wish he could have had an opportunity with him, but knew he couldn't, so he was just spying on him from afar, then tracked him down. Did they confirm that this was the white Hyundai? I've been keeping my eyes and ears open. Nothing, there's no breaking news in the case. Nothing's came out. Feels like a tomorrow kind of a thing that they're going to address it with. If this is the car, it means that person was trying to flee to Oregon. Oregon would be the opposite direction that they were leaving town towards. But that doesn't mean that that couldn't have possibly happened. So, by the way, guys, which version of my background do you like better? This background is like Nashville, where it's a little brighter at nighttime. And then this is Nashville when it's like really dark at night. And then it's like you can make it either blurry or not. Or this one. I kind of like this one, to be honest. This is what I'm feeling right now. Yeah, I like the brighter one. It's not the car. See, I don't think we know yet. I don't think we have enough information quite yet to get down to the bottom of it. Bright. Darker. Bright. Your artwork. Yeah, that'd be cool to make an artwork background, wouldn't it? Bright lights, big city. It's where I live, right here, right? This beautiful, amazing city that you guys see behind me. Yo, you graduated in Mount Juliet. Cool. I've been there before. I went to a church there once or twice. Amy Heights, somebody just emailed me with their address to add to the Feller Fam map. So I'm sending it to you. So that's a blessing. If you guys are a part of the Feller Fam and you joined in the last 2-3 months, email press@tylerfeller.com. That way we can let Amy Heights know. Email us your birthday so we can get you on our birthday calendar, and email us your address. Because Rebecca keeps track of everybody's birthday, and Amy keeps track of everybody's map. So, okay, guys, what an amazing stream. I've had a very, very busy yesterday and today. I've had almost 1 square minute of free time today, and I'm going to pray for you, and then I'm going to get some rest. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every single person that you've gathered together on this stream. I thank you that there's so many generous hearts that have gathered in this place, Lord. And I just pray right now for total release of whatever stress or heaviness that they're carrying. I just speak right now for a break of burdens and stress that's over them. And Lord, I pray for this case that we're working on and for the families of Ethan and Xana and Maddie and Kaylee, that your closeness will be felt. We pray for the law enforcement officers. Thank you, Jesus, that you're giving them wisdom and discernment on how to bring this case to a resolve. Lord, I pray for even the person who committed these atrocious crimes, that in the name of Jesus, you just begin to send conviction to their hearts and that they would want to even turn themselves in. And so I thank you, Lord, in advance for resolution to this case. And I bless every single person watching now in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, guys, one more thing I want to tell you about. It's a really important little clue piece. As far as a way that you can help us out, and I think you would really enjoy it too, is to go join this brand new true crime app that I'm a part of. All you got to do is click that link, go download the app and follow me. And by the way, some of your most favorite other YouTube true crime creators are on this app too. I'm following the ones that I really like that are on there, and there's others that are joining and are on it as well. So it's an amazing new app. Lots of true crime content. A lot of people are giving it rave reviews, and I'd love to see you on there. So thank you guys for being here. And guess what? I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you.